Are you ready to learn? Apparently. The Scale of Gensokyo, presented by Yukari Yukari, she made like an interactable, educational thing for Keine, and that's what this is. It's going to be me reading whatever the hell this is. Instructions. Click on objects to view more details. Zoom in or out using the handle at the bottom of the mouse wheel. Change volume, language at the bottom left of the screen. Yep, I had to do that. Shift and click and drag an object to move it around and make your own comparisons. Use carefully. I can do what? How to move? Oh, God. Shift plus... Oh, yeah. Probably need to actually press that button then. Yeah, can move. Can move the human around. Next to the tankle. 158 centimeters. Remember, this is an average. I won't think less of you for being shorter. I have plenty of other reasons to do that. How much is that in feet? Okay, give me a second. In meter, feet. 158. That's 5'2". Okay. Right, so, yeah, this goes from this really small over here to really big, so it's just, oh my god, that's a lot. Okay. Just gonna go from biggest to smallest. There's Jupiter. New Hell. New Hell is bigger than the sun? The present headquarters of the Ministry in Right and Wrong, where Shigeaki holds courts. 1,200,000 kilometers. For all their supposed virtues, the Ministry of Right and Wrong are a bunch of hoarders. Rather than ever cleaning up all their riffraff, they always just move to a new, bigger house. Sun. 1,391,400 kilometers. Yes, really, it is that big. I know it looks small in the sky, but you see, things farther away look smaller. Keine has taught you that, right? Just making sure. I don't know, what's the average age of Cage students? I assume that Keine is one of those, like, old-timey teachers where every child of every age has the same teacher, so she has to change the course material based on the age of the student. Kaine's note. Hey, Moko, go ahead and incinerate this horrible mistake when you get the chance. I will reflect on my error of judgment the normal way. I don't even want to know what this history tastes like. Heaven. It's over here. No, it's over here. In this context, celestial realm in which Tenchi and Iku reside, 56,000 kilometers. Really? Okay. Floating proof that Lunarians don't have a monopoly on obnoxious, sanctimonious behavior, and somehow the one celestial to regularly escape Gensokyo has all the pretentiousness with none of their tact. The dream world. Why are these places so much bigger than Earth? Why is the netherworld bigger? If we skipped Earth, you telling me the netherworld's bigger than Earth? It's bigger than fucking Jupiter? 59,000 kilometers, as much as it can be measured anyway. The place is even less real than Gensokyo, so remains in constant flux. Distance from surface to bottom of hell. 280,000 kilometers. As I've noted before, this is greater than the diameter of Earth and will put hell closer to the moon, and as much as I agree with that general sentiment, it should be noted most of this height comprises hell itself, and the ceiling starts much closer to the surface. I don't think the nether is that big. Avicii Hell, the realm where Reimu fought, definitely not an Oni. 140,000 kilometers, complete overkill. If you want to contain Reimu, you only need a warm katatsu and a fresh bowl of rice crackers. 233,000 kilometers, despite its foreboding atmosphere and numerous phantoms, is a lovely place to visit. Much better than any of the various hells you may end up in. When you die, try going here first. I mean, it's the best place you can go because you can't go into heaven anymore. Distance from Earth to the moon. 384,000 kilometers. This is the distance if you were to fly directly, which only a lunatic would do. Even if other routes are much more closely guarded by the Lunarians, they are better than a boring, long flight. Jupiter. 139,822 kilometers. The scarlet spot alone is larger than Earth. We would need to see it side by side with one of Remilia's tantrums to see which is bigger, though. Okay, can get smaller now. Earth, 12,756 kilometers, is defined by the physical surface area humans inhabit, including extra-dimensional spaces, greatly complicates the math and has led to several wars between paranormal entities over semantics. Okay. Izanagi Plate, an ancient tectonic plate from the era of dinosaurs, which gave rise to the Japanese archipelago and eventually sunk completely into Earth's mantle. 7,000 kilometers. Scientists make a big deal out of tectonic activity and subduction, but really it was just Izanagi rolling over in his sleep and dragging his blanket with him. Not kidding about that, because people believe that, so it's the actual history of this universe, but it's also real history. Touhou doesn't make any sense if you didn't know. 6,779 kilometers. Humans have long feared Martians might come to invade, which is just so awful. There are hundreds of us yokai ready to devour them, and they waste all their fear on imaginary gray men. Doesn't that mean that there should now be yokai based on aliens or something? The moon! 3,475 kilometers. It is impressive how much haughtiness and arrogance can fit on such a relatively small celestial object. Good thing Gru stole it that one time. Japan, 3,000 kilometers. Truly my favorite thin strip of mountains jutting out in defiance from the sea. I do miss the days when we yokai could roam freely from Kyushu to Hokkaido. I would have folded all in Gensokyo if not for all those pesky cities. 200 Yohana, the distance that Yomu covers in one slash. 1,400 kilometers. How'd she do that? Either one dear Yomu has a penchant for exaggeration, or she has Yomu quite beat in top speed, considering a slash to take approximately a second covering 200 Yohana, and one is over 4,000 times the speed of sound. No, I don't think she does that. Former Hell. The realm of the underground, where the Oni reside, and Satori holds the reins of the Palace of the Earth Spirits, 1,200 kilometers. This may not be up for a remeasurement. The Oni are not kind to their homes, both the wooden ones they are constantly rebuilding, but also the cavern walls that should be containing them. Length of Tokaido Road. Ancient road connecting Kyoto to Edo, Tokyo, made up of 53 stations, 514 kilometers. This is a great tragedy. We cannot experience the Tokaido journey anymore. I mean, I still technically can, but really it's just not the same anymore. Maximum range of Kamachi's distance manipulation. That's a thing? 401 kilometers. Highly observed range. Kamachi may just be too lazy to try any further. Maximum width of Sanzu River. Isn't it supposed to be infinite? The Sanzu River to the afterlife changes its size based on the sense of the one causing it. 400 kilometers. This is a standardized unit of measure that can also be called 1 Seigakaku. Okay. Get smaller. Hell blood pools. A realm of hell that Chiari favors for its namesake liquid. 84 kilometers. The blood here is near impossible to get out of clothing, even by run. This gives the place a very low rating from the Yakumo tourism board. I sooner frequent an Oni bar. At least there you'd only get your own blood all over your dress. Gensokyo. 100 by 100 square kilometers, at least until the next gaggle of outsiders stumble in and I have to make room for another mansion, temple, upside down castle. Dragon, that's a big fucking dragon. The god supposedly enshrined at Hakure's shrine, though no one has ever seen it. 42 kilometers. Per several binding agreements, I am allowed to disclose how I know this measurement. Travel distance, maximum safe height for spell card duels. What? 8,000 meters. At the time, I didn't think the ceiling of Gensokyo needed to be so well defined, and then a stray bullet shot down some famous female aviator, and I had to stall some upper boundaries. Okay. Bamboo Forest of the Low. How am I supposed to get over there? Excuse me? 7 by square kilometers. Like ANT itself, it feels much bigger when you are stuck on the inside. Total travel distance covered by Morio Ropeway. 4.7 kilometers. For the next trick, the Morians might reinvent the wheel and try to take credit for that too. Range of Yamabiko Shout, 6 kilometers. Get earplugs before visiting Muro Temple in the morning. Maximum range of Yomu's Ghost Half, 5 kilometers. Any further and tickling it no longer affects Yomu herself. Thoroughly tested. Yokai Mountain, 2,899 meters. I have denied several requests to move larger mountains into Gensokyo. This is because it is important to have such a central landmark, and any rumors it is because of tributary payments from Morio Shrine to the Yakumo households are an outright absurd fabrication. Look, I know you're Yukari, but you really expect me to believe you can move a fucking mountain? I don't believe that. I know Suiko and Kaneko moved a lake. It's a bit different from a giant fucking mountain. I don't think your gap can just like, okay, your mountain's here now. That would cause a lot of problems. One misty lake, 1.6 square kilometers. I could give you the complex scientific explanation for why water molecules condense at low temperatures near the surface, but it is much shorter to say the constant fog looks more mysterious. Please don't talk about the water cycle again. Total length of the Gensokyo Chronicle Scroll, 1.1 kilometers. This is the present combined length. I tried to add what the eventual total length will be, but Ron has chided me that would be a spoiler. So this just has a giant length that is supposed to... So they just... When it was first made, it was just made ridiculously big. For all the possible information you would have. Stairs to the Netherworld, 700 meters. This appears to solely be a training device for Yomo, as I have never seen anyone else actually bother hiking up them. Scarlet Double Mansion Library after Sakia's space manipulation. 900 by 900 square meters. Remilia brags about having the largest library in Gensokyo, but that is only because of a technicality. I don't store my books in Gensokyo directly, too much humidity, and not enough jammed magicians to employ to fix it. Actually doesn't work for Remilia. Freaking you know that, Yukari. Torifune, according to Trojan Green Asteroid, a Japanese space station that was banded due to a computer bug. 560 meters. A literal bug. That one. No, not really. An immense monument to the importance of quality assurance in the software development life cycle. You should heed this lesson when viewing the remains of Torifune in the heavens above. Oh wait, this has not been constructed yet. Ron removed its entry from when you read this. Umukade, 660 meters. A centipede so large it eats dragons. Surely must be the manifestation of humans creeped out by bugs more than anything else. Maximum range of Master Spark, 300 meters. Note this is the distance from the Witch's Hakuro to the farthest point of the laser that singles Kloss and thus counts for a Danmaku duel. The actual light travels near infinitely, and I expect to receive complaints about light pollution from a few neighboring star systems in the coming eons. Light travels near infinite. Okay. Largest Suiko. 235 meters. At least I certainly hope it is the largest size. Gensokyo must accommodate all yokai. It would be hard to fit more than just Suika if she decided to grow another order of magnitude. Animal Realm Skyscraper. 410 meters. One wonders why animal spirits emulate human dwellings despite the lack of opposable thumbs. The others stacking atop each other to reach elevator buttons is adorable though. The Great Waterfall. 260 meters. Not good for training under. The crushing weight of water might be bearable, but then you must also contend with Kappa, Tengu, and even a Yabama whining about intruding on their territory. Size of the Hieda House. 200 by 200 square meters. Those imposing walls are not so much to keep you out. It is more to protect you from the stench of death and mildew in there. They absolutely have not solved the humidity problem for their skulls and books. That's disgusting. Okay. Eloquent Ship. The flying vessel that staged a jailbreak for Byakuran from Kai and then later was converted to Myoran Temple, 150 meters. Even Theseus is scratching his head at what point a temple still counts as a ship, or vice versa. Yukari's train, 120 meters every time someone makes an entirely inaccurate comment about my age. I had another train car before launching it at them. Shiny Needle Castle. 558 meters. Ron insists this measurement should be negative to properly capture the locale. I am inclined to agree, as one particular resident there has no absolute value. Funny. Line in the Kappa stand on New Year's Eve. Why would that be consistent? 50 meters. There's no line in Hakure Shrine. Really, go give the girl a visit. You'll make her whole year, and then you won't be obligated to see her for the rest of it. Great Myoran Buddha. 42 meters. It may have been better if Unzon's texture wasn't transformed. Just imagine a giant cotton candy Buddha. Hiso Tensoko. A giant robot. Early as a hunk of metal made to look like one. That sparked the events of the games with the same name. 38 meters. An objectively bad advertising stunt if I ever saw one. People spent more time fighting each other while chasing it than visiting the Kappa Bazaar. Barrier of life and death. 27 meters. I have offered to simply leave a well-defined gap at the juncture, but Yuko insists on having a big heavy thing in the way of visitors and then complains to me when she's bored of just Yomu's company. Radio tower. 30 meters. Gensokyo accepts all of the forgotten, but I have been considering adding a clause against useless decrepit eyesores. Another thing, literally everything forgotten ended up in Gensokyo. They get packed of useless shit. Get packed full of useless shit pretty quickly. So it's more like Gensokyo accepts whatever forgotten things Zone wants to write about that day. 17 meters. Okay, you can stretch them further, and they make funny boing sounds when they snap back to their body, but she gets angry enough that it's best saved for only special occasions. Maximum range of Seki Bunky Head. 1 Bashira. I have suggested to Kaneko we import the festival of variety on Bashira down a hill, but she told me off. Something about the fact her pillars shooting Damaku make the sport too dangerous, and how could you even suggest that? Oh, no sense of fun in that woman. Saigyo Ayakashi, the great tree of the netherworld, whose blooming defines the plot of perfect cherry blossom, 13 meters. I have elected to not include the roots of this noble tree in the measurements. There is absolutely nothing of importance there, and good kids should not be playing near them. You may be wondering how I know the names of these games. It's because, you know, Touhou's history is also in line with real history, and Touhou games exist, so therefore, yeah. Oku's Suns, 8 meters. They are notably unsafe for spectators due to both the amount of energy they contain and the panic they cause. Sunglasses, radiation shielding, and an elevated vantage point. Strongly advised. It's a good thing nobody who ever fights Oku gets cancer. That'd make her a whole lot less funny. Alkure Shrine Tori, 10 meters. To walk through here is to either enter a land of fantasy or to get drunk at a flower viewing party. Average human village house, 6 by 20 square meters. I hear complaints that these are too humble, but would all be worth a fortune in Tokyo, so appreciate what you got. As a real estate appreciation, good investment. Max minimum width of Sanzu River. The Sanzu River to the afterlife changes in size based on the sins of the one crossing at 740 centimeters. This is the width of the river when Aki trumps on over to lecture each other, everyone within her side of it. If only the commute was longer, she might be dissuaded from spending her lunch breaks there. And she's a giant no. Not yet. Mr. Goji. A snake-like white curse god associated with Suwako, 15 meters. This measurement is impressive, but I would not recommend checking for yourself. Yes, they do bite. Well, it's good I've had a bunch of short recordings before this, because this is going to take me, it's been 17 minutes. I barely scraped this, haven't I? The Sumi Yoshi rocket. Constructed by Patchley to reach the moon in Silent Center in Blue, with help from several parties, 11 meters. How do you think, since Yukari apparently knows about all of them, how do you think Yukari rates the games and literature? What do you think her tier list would be? An estimate of the original. The current actual height of the largest remaining chunk of rubble is maybe a meter at best. Aki's stone stacking record. 6.3 meters. I do not think humans were capable of the single-minded dedication to a repetitive task as Aka, and then learned about something called speed running. And she's giant keystone. 4.2 meters. These can be used to suppress earthquakes in addition to causing them, but you would be forgiven for not knowing given how that brat uses them. An oarfish. 8 meters. Having missed a guy before observing an oarfish myself, from my expectations of their beauty, it was quite a letdown. Giant catfish. 4.8 meters. They can grow to this size due to the lack of predators in Gensokyo. They just taste nasty. Do they? Does catfish taste nasty? I don't know. I don't eat fish. I don't eat much fish. I'm not a seafood connoisseur. On 8 meters. Despite his thunderous appearance, he is actually quite shy. The pink is from all the blushing he does being out in public. Clown pieces moons. 4 meters. Calling these moons is rather like calling Pluto a planet, and arguing with the runt about it is liable to get her throwing them at you. Goliath doll. 4.8 meters. Oh yes, very creative. Just make a bigger doll, probably packed with more explosives than the Fujiwara gift basket to A&T. What a mystery why the strategy didn't catch on. Shut your mouth. 4.6 meters. A young dragon who I hoped might impress Reimu to pay a bit more attention to her deity. Sadly, whatever impression is made on Reimu lasted about as long as the effects of Kassen's training. It was apparently very effective. For like 2 days. That was a weird chapter. Largest Danmaku bullet. 3.2 meters. Any larger than this and is not safe for spectators. Even the bullet itself may lack enough energy for substantial harm. The panic they cause make up for it. Manzairaku. 2.6 meters. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Give a seal a fish, and he keeps coming back like you owe it something. Quite glad to leave this resident to Kasen. order should I do this in? Width of a gap, 110 centimeters. No, you cannot use this to estimate my waist size. I keep it wider for comfort, not because of my unsightly body fat I require for purely hibernation reasons. Kazen's tiger, 210 centimeters. Well, about the same length as the average tiger, Hosu is significantly wider, much like the hermit who feeds it. That was rude. Oni, when within arm's reach. Oh boy. UFO? 2.3 meters. If I accurately identified this for you, it wouldn't be a UFO anymore, would it? Kazen's eagle. 2.3 meters is the size of the larger of our two eagles, as if it wasn't bad enough to have one giant predatory bird near a major population center. Keine statue. 2.1 meters. Solemn, foreboding guardians of many sacred places, or so I thought till I met Reimus. Just adorable. Sunflower. 1.8 meters. The fairies who reside in these tend to be a little stronger than average. I wonder if proximity to Kazumi causes it. Don't play in the sunflower field, children. Giant toad. A toad that ate Cherno that one time in Bohemian Archive in Japanese read. 2.5 meters. We have to have just a few actual giant monsters around here so the rest of us can look more pretty in comparison. Oh, and this one will definitely eat you if you don't do your homework. Yomu's swords. 1.4 meters. The things they cannot cut are next to none. Really rolls off the tongue poorly. Does Yomu think I can cut almost anything isn't intimidating enough? Can Yomu even be intimidating? No. Fascinating question. Much how Touhou characters can't be scary. Yomu can't be intimidating. Why are the instructions so big? They're like the size of Notori. Oni actual, 1.9 meters. Oni vary dramatically in size, but tend towards taller. However, if you are questioned while physically near an Oni, see the other entry. Oni, when within arm's reach, 2.5 meters. This is a good number if you are forced to answer in a vacuum. Be sure to add at least 10 centimeters over the tallest person in the room. Remember, the Oni is always the tallest person in the room. .2 meters. Unlike with other yokai, you must include a hat while measuring a kappa. They absolutely refuse to remove their cap in any situation that might reveal their bald spot. They don't have a bald spot, Notori. Or, Notori doesn't have a bald spot, Yukari. Stop spreading false rumors. I already did human, didn't I? Tango! 1.8 meters. You can also measure their ego proportional to the height of their gator teeth. Teeth? Teeth. Okay. Okay, we have now gone back to the beginning. Yin-Yang or 55 centimeters. I tried messing with these to serve as communication devices, partly for convenience, but also to discourage Reimu from priding me with them. They really hurt. Tsuchinoko! 36 meters. If you've read this far, I'll be honest with you. These really are just snakes digesting something, but don't tell anyone else. It is our secret. Scale. One used by a human village merchant. 35 centimeters. Commerce is critical to human society. Trade exchange ideas and values as much as physical goods, which is exactly why trade with the outside world is forbidden. 35 centimeters. Domestic chicken. They lay eggs. They taste great in any dish. They are easy to raise, and because of one very vocal clerical goddess, we can't just have chicken farms for a consistent fresh meat supply. Yukari Lotl. 23 centimeters. What is this? How did this get in here? Why does this absurd creature have such good taste in headwear? I don't know. Quite a number of people like that particular piece of headwear. 22.5 centimeters. Good tasting enough to start a business, apparently. Oh, and a video game and an anime. Although the actual lamprey isn't that useful of a dish in the actual game. You don't use it for that much. A cult ball, 20 centimeters. These silly things were all part of a Lunarian plot. I didn't think they'd have the guys to devise a plan so stupid I wouldn't pay much attention. Smallest Danmaku bullet. 15 centimeters. Any smaller than this, and the average spectator cannot see them. The beholder of beauty should not require a telescope. Tube fox. 12 centimeters. I know cats like to rest in cramped spaces, but this is rather ridiculous. Eternity larva. Why is she just the representative of fairies, or is she particularly bigger or smaller than fairies? 10 centimeters. For all the complaints about random fairy attacks, you humans should approximate them. They handle 85.34% of pollination in Gensokyo. In the outside world, they rely on bees. Millions upon millions of bees, all of whom want to sting you, and none nearly as cute as this one fairy. They pollinate. Just get stuck to their clothes. I mean, it's not too surprising that fairies are too stupid to wash their own clothes. 8.8 centimeters of spell card. Even if you lack the necessary spiritual strength to make your own, the Yakumo Corporation now offers pockets of spell cards for a reasonable price. Trade with your friends to collect your favorites and aim to get the ultra rare 5-star Yukari cards. Ability cards. 7 centimeters. These poorly drawn cards are completely unsanctioned and predatory yokai trick. Just say no to gambling, kids. A frog. 7 centimeters. I have decided to include the diameter of the ice surrounding the frog as it's oddly common in our Gensokyo subspecies. So, Shino has frozen so many frogs it causes them to evolve around the ice, and she has created an entirely new species. Congratulations. Scale. From a dragon. 4 centimeters. Dragon scales have a variety of magical properties. The most immediate of them is the breath of fire enveloping your whole body when you attempt to harvest one. A Magatama. 3.6 centimeters. And a ubiquitous form of storing spiritual energy, or they would be, but the PowerPoint brand Red Squares secured a good early monopoly here. Shinmyomaru, 3 centimeters. 3 centimeterling has never caught on. For all its fault, the Imperial system has good marketing. Mochi Ball, 3 centimeters. Pulling some strings, I have ensured we have multiple authentic lunar rabbits offering competing brands of mochi. You are welcome. That wasn't you, but whatever. Komachi's Danmaku coin, 2.4 centimeters. Surprisingly, perhaps they are perfectly viable currency. I suspect the Reaper earned enough coin to retire centuries ago, but Eiki would never allow it. Hence Komachi's persistent insubordination. The Yama have much to learn about loyalty retention. I mean, do beings who basically don't die get to retire? I don't know, it's Komachi age. Shimigami. Not worth picking up off the ground for most, but excellent bait to throw into Rainbow's donation box. A 5 yen coin. What does that say? I don't know. Cherry Blossom Pebble, 2 centimeters. Best viewed on a spring evening with a cool breeze, hot sake, and a flustered rival to needle with verbal jabs. A Dandelion Seed, 1.6 centimeters. You won't believe how many people I got eating dandelions. Well, maybe you would if you joined the fad. I do love turning a problem into a widespread prank. A grain of rice. 6 millimeters. A delicious food sample when grouped together, and ample chopstick practice when alone. Snowflake. 4 millimeters. Ron calculated the probability of 2 identical snowflakes out to several thousand decimal points to win an argument against me about uniqueness, and then I bonked her with the newspaper for missing the point. Raindrop, 2 millimeters. Actually quite dodgeable. If you were having trouble, I suggest referencing the entries for the Yamabiko Shout and Lampreys. Grain of salt. 0.5 millimeters. Salt must be imported to Gensokyo. How? Don't fret yourself. That is my problem. I would suggest being kind to your horses, though. Width of Sakia's sharpened knife edge. 30 micrometers. It is quite incredible the maid finds the time to retrieve her knives after every battle and keep them sharpened. Really, I believe she may be literally stealing the time from somewhere. A bit concerning. Thickness of cat hair. 25.8 micrometers. There is some debate among humans what constitutes hairy versus furry. For our side, 9 out of 10 yokai agree Chen is adorable, and Ron killed the 10th. Liver cell. 30 micrometers. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I like to imagine the one in liver cell as a giant burning alcoholic cauldron, constantly overflowing and doomed to fail eventually. Smallest Suika, 20 micrometers. She has been prohibited from splitting any smaller since the Tunguska incident. E. coli. 2 micrometers. Charm theory has been a disaster for the yokai community and a large factor in the creation of Gensokyo, but even there are opportunities like this little guy, probably best called the fear of contaminated food. I think it will be a few decades at least before E. coli is eradicated and arrives here. That'd be bad. The wavelength of Raison's power, 700 nanometers. Any claims that I personally succumb to the effects of these wavelengths only betray their own ignorance. Allowing our Lunarian guests to believe me under their spell was just another layer of my scheme. Width of a DNA strand, 10 nanometers. Deoxyribo, oh no, who am I kidding? You'll be fortunate if Keine even gets you kids to understand the birds and the bees. Ethanol molecule, 4.4 angstrom. Forget fire, the greatest gift from the gods was the fermentation process. Hydrogen atom, 1.1 angstrom. The Morians make such a big deal of fusing these together, but it's not that hard. Just remove the barrier dividing them and evaporate the light together without any of that pesky energy boiling everything within 1000 meters. Yeah, the real reason Maribel had to time travel is because she accidentally made a giant nuclear explosion. Whoops. Nucleus of deuterium, a hydrogen isotope with 1 proton and 1 neutron, 2.1 times 10 to the 15 meters. So when a proton and neutron love each other very much. No, have you kids got the talk yet? If not, just know these are very small and very important, and their electron friends can fry you if they get antsy. Width of femtofibers, woven together to form a magic rope highlighted in chapter 19 of Silent Sinner in blue. Yeah, very exciting that was. Despite being so divinely concentrated... Consecrated? They still chaff something fierce. We have to go deeper. Quantum fairy. 10 to the negative 18 meters. In Gensokyo, fairies represent all aspects of nature. Some of those aspects are quite small, but if someone looks, they may still be there. It is hard for sages like me to ensure the endless bounds of human curiosity always find more levels of yokai to explain the world. So please, if you see anyone inventing a better microscope, do me a favor and smash it. Okay. Width of a fiber of lunar veil. A lunarian veil made of moonlight that allows the wearer to travel to and from the moon. Both races have used one before. This was previously the worst method to travel to the moon before mankind invented hollow tubes filled with fuel and ignited one on one end. Like many pretty objects, this one carries an awful curse. The cost of travel is sucking out your very spirit. If a lunarian tries to trick you into wearing one, claiming it will purify you, deny them and report their vile infiltration to your nearest sage immediately. Unless that sage is Okina. Maybe find a different one. But there's only 3 of them. And the 3rd one hides her identity. I'm saying talk to me. What I'm saying here. Plankton length. 1.16 times 10 to the negative 35 meters. The smallest unit in physics. It is theorized Okina's usefulness might be smaller, but this has yet to be observed by any party. Do you know that Okina is apparently the character who put Michigan in the pyramid place? According to one of the endings, because Okina can't keep her grubby fucking hands off characters I like. Always gotta insert herself into something. Miss Kamishiro Sara, here is the self-scaling scroll as you requested. It is my sincere desire this enables your latest generation of brats to be a shade less ignorant. If you ever require any more assistance with your lesson plans, please feel free to contact Ron, Yukari Yakumo, esteemed historian, curator, and sage. Yukari's note. There you go, that didn't take as long as I thought it would. It was 30 minutes of me reading. Hope you enjoyed! That was that. Bye.